I think they'll know that we just changed our clothes. It's not another day.
Oh no. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Keeping Up with MJ, and I'm MJ, and this is...
At this point, I just have to say Husbae because that's what she wants me to say.
Yes,
So we just
yes, you learned it. Alright, so this video is pretty fun. We're going to be talking about our birth story, labor and delivery during a pandemic.
The fun stuff.
Yes. Alright, so where do we start?
Let's start with the day before. Let's talk about the day before.
Yeah, let's give them a little shine the day before.
It's a crucial, this is super crucial. Go ahead.
So the day before, we invited our sisters over to help us with the nursery situation, right? And that day we were also like putting up the wallpaper and cleaning up the room and stuff like that. So
I did the wallpaper that day.
the day before.
That's crazy.
The day before. Yeah.
So I ended up putting up this really cool wallpaper.
I have some footage of that, so I might put a little snippet in here so you guys can see
You
it.
can see the nursery and see how things kind of came out. And it was something that was long overdue. Like, we were literally, a couple days before our daughter was supposed to be here, and I still hadn't gotten around to like doing all of like these handy things inside the house.
It was just a lot. It was just a lot.
So much going on, and thankfully I was able to do it literally the day before. So the nursery was completed in its entirety the day before. But yeah, so like our sisters came over, and like it was super crazy. Like they were helping us packing all of the clothes that we got from the baby shower.
Shout out to my sisters for packing up that
Real ones,
drawers.
real ones, real ones, real ones. I'm gonna just say this right here off the rip. Akila, I ain't gonna lie, you mastered the folding. I'm gonna just put that out there right there. They try to play you at first.
Why you have to put that in?
Nah, I had to because y'all was trying to play it. Y'all was trying to play it the first time, but now I'm just letting everybody know in the world that if you need your baby's clothes to be folded and you want to inquire,
these husbands ain't loyal. These husbands ain't loyal, yo.
Kind of be. I just gotta put that out there real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm gonna give her a little shine.
So we completed all of those cool things, and they were helping to situate things. We cleaned, mopped up literally most of the room, got everything like vacuumed and wiped down and what have you, and things were feeling good. Like we were joking, laughing, and everything.
Fast forward to the end of that night. What happened?
So Akeisha comes. This is the other sister of the three, and she does this. She goes, let me take a video of this. She literally does this with her phone. She goes, I'm gonna take a video of you guys real quick. This is before she's walking out the door. She goes, hey you guys, look, this is probably gonna be the last video that you guys are gonna see with these two before their parents.
And I'm over there like, what is she doing? Like,
about,
this is not the last time you're gonna see us.
It's
like,
only the 17th right now.
Yeah, we still got some days.
We got some
like,
days,
come
like,
on.
relax, like, come on, fam, like, nah.
I think I'm gonna ask her for the video. Like, you probably put a little snippet in here too.
We're not lying. Literally,
like,
the night
this is what
before.
happened. Alright, this is the last time you're gonna see these folks without the baby.
Is it really?
Next thing you know, it's gonna be Joanna and JC plus one. Kilo, say what's up.
She literally said that, and I was like, yo, nah, that's crazy, but you never know.
No, for me, I was like, that's not happening, because I was determined, like, my baby is coming on the 21st, 1/21/21. That's her birthday. Like,
yo,
I was set on that date.
We love that date too. It's just like
it's just
so
such a
cool.
cool day. Like
So
1/21/21. Like,
Facts.
you know.
Facts. And a couple hours after that,
This is when we were asleep. Good, nice, you know, enjoying the rest.
things got real.
I got up to use the bathroom, right?
It was around like 2:30ish. She got up.
I got up to use the bathroom, you know, peed, whatever, go back to bed. Then I got up again, because when I went to bed, I'm like, okay, I need to use the bathroom again. Got up again, went to the bathroom, came back. lay down.
But wait, but even before like that, like what I was noticing was weird is normally she doesn't back to back like peak, like that doesn't.
It
normally
doesn't,
happen.
yeah.
Normally it's like one time for the night and then that's it. Like that's just like my husband observation. Like I just kind of checking this to see like how things are with her. And what was not normal was that like I know that I was holding her stomach. I like to just like hold her stomach and just feel on her child
Oh,
while
yes,
we
yes,
sleeping.
yes, yes.
And like to feel her move and stuff like that. But this time like her stomach was just like getting like hard. Like it was tightening up like almost like I'm like her abs are not really present.
I was feeling it. I was feeling that. Honestly,
Yeah.
I was feeling it. But I just thought it was the Braxton Hicks. Like I was just like, you know, it's just happening and it's gonna go away. Like, you know, I wasn't thinking nothing of it.
Yeah.
But I see you were like really observing it because I felt your stomach. You was just there like.
Yeah, I was just feeling. I was like, that's kind of weird. And then when she would do this thing, like she never does this, where she started like kicking her leg, like she's trying to power through something that was like really annoying or whatever. And like I was like, this possibly could be contractions in my mind, but I kind of just let it flow. I thought it was like Braxton Hicks, like she said.
And that's when I got up to use the bathroom the third time, and then I came back and laid down. It was it was probably after like 2 minutes after I laid
Literally
down.
2 minutes.
I just felt like a gush of water just like
Flowing out.
came out of me. My water just broke. Wow. And it was just like flowing like really crazy. And I'm there like,
we in bed, Mike.
Oh my gosh.
There's no preparation for this. Literally no preparation. No towel, no
Nothing.
no plastic bag.
Nothing.
The flow of the
It was
the
just
water
like
was out.
like a gush of water, just
So
like
she-
an uncontrollable pee. Like for real.
She jumps out the bed. I'm like, oh, like nah, things is moving too fast.
I'm looking at him. I'm standing there looking at him like, oh my gosh, like what's
That's
happening?
in her hands. It's
Like what's happening? Like looking down, and he's like, babe, relax. It's okay. Relax. Like rubbing my back. It's okay. Telling me it's okay while a whole bunch of water is flowing down my legs. Like a whole puddle of water was literally on the floor, and it just kept flowing. Like it really didn't stop.
I was mad happy for her. Like I immediately was like, yo, I'm so happy for you. Like I'm like, look at you, like killing it right now. You didn't even know you was having contractions. Like this is about to be smooth. Like as you saw from the previous video, like we was telling you, like our pregnancy was super smooth. She was like no problems, no issues, no throwing up, none of that stuff. So like once the water broke, like she's just like mad regular. She's like, oh well, my water broke and like she's like, I was like, how does it feel? Like your stomach feels heavy? She's like, yeah, a little bit, but it's like
It just felt like, you know, after it just kept happening, I was just like, yeah, I still feel normal.
Yeah.
Until that first contraction hit.
So before the first contraction hit, we immediately called our doula.
Oh yes.
And like this goes to like having that person that can advocate for you, who's a professional that really knows, based off of experiences, what to do in those moments.
Yeah, because our doulas already told us what to do when this happens, right? They gave us because they have a hotline number that you will call when your water breaks. Call that number.
So they know that if they get a call from that phone or whatever device, that they know like it's game time. So when they called us, they were super calm. They were like, yo, hey, just go right back in bed and just lay down.
They were like, congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Like, congratulations.
We're so happy for you. And like, it was so crazy. So, you know, I had looked this up before this, and I'm sure Jason probably looked it up, but almost every like, not almost every, but most like Google searches will tell you like, yo, once your water breaks, you should probably head to the hospital. And in a lot of ways that is true, like for people who may be having a difficult birth, or like you may have had
or people who don't have doulas and midwives and stuff like that,
yeah, like
they would just immediately go.
Yeah, like if you don't have like you have like trouble or complications in your birth, you might want to hit up a hospital just to make sure that everything is good. But things were so smooth with us, we were able to kind of monitor, our doulas were able to monitor what was going on, and we were able to go back to bed for a couple hours just to kind of labor at home for a little bit.
Well, try to go back to bed.
Try to go back to bed. Moments after that, that's when like it really started to get real.
Yeah, back to that first contraction, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, this is the most pain I've ever felt in my life.
That joint is intense. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. That joint is intense.
Like that pain was crazy. It was like worse than the cramp, like the period pains, like that you get in your back. Like it's an uncontrollable feeling that I don't even know how to explain it, but it hurt. Like I didn't think it would be that bad, but it hurt, and it came every 5 minutes at the beginning.
At the beginning, it was about every 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and it lasted only for like probably a couple of seconds. I would say probably 45 seconds. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't
30 to
30 to 45
seconds.
seconds. And we was like, okay, it's not that bad. Like, you know, we aren't gonna rush now.
Yeah, that's what we said at the beginning. At the beginning, I was
those-
like, okay, I could do this for the, you know, I could handle it. But fast forward when it was coming like every like two minutes,
Every 2
then
minutes
every
and it was
1
lasting.
minute. Oh my
It
gosh.
was coming every 2 minutes and it was
And the
lasting.
duration of it was longer.
So
That was the issue for me.
at some point, it was starting to hit 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And I'm like, yo, this is a long contraction.
Remember you were looking at it on the app because you downloaded that
Yeah, and I was
that app,
able to
right?
track like
Yeah.
when they were coming in.
and I was looking at the time on that app and I'm like, babe, it's coming longer. It's still going. It's still going. I can still feel the pain. And he's there trying to like massage my back and like trying to get me through it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's still there. It's still there. I still feel it. I still feel it. So like every time now, like we're timing it because we know like when it's coming. So you know what to expect. But every time it comes, it feels like it's the first time. Like I'm not gonna lie.
So,
the
like,
first time.
The perspective of like, you know, the male in this situation, like the partner, like I'm there, not just the male, because obviously with your partner or whatever that's in the situation for you. Like I'm in the situation and I'm like, yo, like what if I didn't know what to do at these times? Like, and to be honest with you, I still didn't really like I was comfortable and I was like confident, but it was still like, damn, like this is really happening. I've never been in this experience before, so I immediately started to think about like the classes that we took with our doulas
And the sounds.
the
sounds they told us to
and
do.
the sounds is not really like a sound that is a pleasant sound. It's like wooing and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's like woo,
Yeah.
like you're wooing through the contraction time.
Yeah.
So like if it's like 30 seconds, like woo.
And the purpose of it,
woo,
the purpose of
yeah.
it is so that you can control your breathing. So
Mhm.
you know, I swim a lot. I used to teach swimming, and like breath control is super important when trying to go the long run for swimming. So I immediately was able to kind of connect those dots when it came to pregnancy. Not that that is in any way the same thing, but I was able to make a connection with that. So we did that, and then I was also able to do like some massages for you that kind of helped.
Yeah,
And
it
you can
did.
tell me if it helped or
No,
not.
it did.
Alright, so
If you weren't there, I don't know how I would have handled that. Like
golden
it's
hands. Let's
crazy.
just call these golden hands. That's just what we're gonna do. All right.
But throughout the contractions, like we were trying different positions, like we learned in the classes. Like we were trying to sleep through it, like they told us to do. Try to sleep through it. Was not working. Like we were on, like I was on the toilet at first, and I was like kneeling down. And I was like kneeling down on the bed. Then I was on the floor. Like when the contractions hit you, like you try to get in any position that will be helpful to
It
you.
started to get real.
Yeah, it was.
And the woos were woo
At
to-
first.
woo, woo, mad ugly, like
It was,
ugly
it was
face.
bad. It was bad.
It was
I
bad.
couldn't believe this was happening to me. Like when I think about it, it was bad. Like
Yo,
those sounds are crazy. I really wish we recorded those sounds, but
It
in
was
the
hilarious.
moment, in the moment, you're not thinking about recording
Not at
anything.
all.
Like, cause in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna be recording my whole like labor and delivery. Like, you know, I want to show the people what happened. Like, I want to be cute. Like,
that
when
keeps
it's
us out the
happening,
water.
like that is at the back of my head. Like I was
Out
not
the
thinking about
water.
nothing. Like
No
I just
makeup
wanted to
got
get
done.
through. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about doing my makeup.
I was able to pick out her outfit to go to the hospital.
I wanted to.
Our
Oh
conversations
my gosh.
before this was, babe, I'm gonna wear this. I was like, yo, fam, cool, just
The
have it
day
ready.
the day of, I was like, yo, I don't care. Just go in the closet, just pick out some leggings, a
I blame
sweater. I don't
Lakeisha.
care.
I blame Makisa.
I blame my sister too. I do. She jinxed us.
She's straight jinxed us.
She jinxed us,
and
yo.
We would have been ready and set because we had a couple more days in our mind
In our mind,
to
we had
get
some
like those
days.
things prepared. But in reality, we did it. We had just
We
a
did
couple
it.
hours and we wasn't prepared, but that's alright.
It's cool. It's cool. It is what it is. But those contractions were hitting, and Duran was doing his thing on my back, trying his best. But let's talk about when you had to the actual day of.
Oh yeah.
When you had to
So
take the things to the car and
I get to
all
that.
that.
So what happened was that essentially things started to get real hectic. So I was like, there's no way. Like I think at this time, like we need to make the judgment call on like, yo, we may need to start moving towards the hospital.
Yeah, so we called the doulas first.
So what we did, we called our doulas first. It was like, you know, maybe you could wait it out. We don't really think that like, you know, she's dilated that much just yet. But, you know, we told her and we were just on the exact time.
Really close.
And it was really like about game time at that point.
Yeah.
So we decided that we were going to call the hospital, which we did. We called the hospital and they were prepared to have us there. So we told them we was on the way. Super important. Don't just show up because they're like, oh shoot, they're ready, but they're not ready until, so they were able to prep for us to get there. The next step was I'm alone. She needs me to give her massages to these things, and they're only about like a couple seconds apart.
Necessity, like I need him to be there to do that on my back for me to get through it.
So
I didn't know how I was gonna get through it if he wasn't there.
I had to figure this thing out. So we had packed our hospital bag, but it wasn't inside the car. Thankfully, I was able to kind of get the car seat and all of those things in the car set up and situated. So that was already prepared.
Clutch.
The only thing we literally had to do was get like snacks, water, food, things to hydrate her and keep her healthy. Because I think that's things we don't talk about too when having when a woman is in birth, like her taking care of herself during the pregnancy, and I had to go and get all those things prepared. Normally I would have a couple days, but we didn't have that. So I rushed, I got coconut water for the electrolytes. I got the regular water. I did get some chips that she likes, so some snacks that she loves. She likes these mango slices from Trader Joe's.
Oh, get
if you don't know about that,
you missing out.
Go and get that.
Get it.
And we got all the snacks, got all the bags. I'm like bag lady, Erykah Badu vibe, running to the car. Trying to get everything in the trunk of this vehicle.
While I'm there suffering on the floor.
She's bugging out on the floor.
And my doula's on the phone. Like,
thank God for doula.
You got this. You got this. Just work through it. Breathe. You got it. Keep going. You're doing such a great job.
They said God bless America, but God actually bless doulas. Alright? I'm just keeping it funky with you. And like, mind you, I parked about four blocks away. So I'm lugging a good deal of stuff.
Yeah, I wish I could have seen, because I didn't even know how you was looking.
It was really bad. Like, whoever saw me on the streets, like trying to muscle and breathing all crazy, because I ain't work out because it's Corona time, and I'm just here breathing mad hard. And I finally got there, Zoom. I'm not stopping at no stoplights to get to the crib, going through it all. And I'm like thinking through, like, yo, what are my next steps? Got everything in the car. I was like, I gotta get her now. I have to get her dressed. Mind you, the car's parked at a hydrant downstairs. We don't care about that.
Well, yeah, you did have to get me dressed because I was still on the floor.
Got her dressed. She put on some leggings, some stuff to hold her up just because the water broke.
Just threw on some Uggs.
Some Uggs.
Threw on my fur coat, and it was it.
And then we was good to go. Because of like New York regulations, if you're a pregnant woman in the back seat, you don't have to have your seatbelt on. I know that sounds crazy. And it actually was crazy if you're driving with me.
Yeah, it does sound
but
it was crazy.
It's technically better just because you don't want the seatbelt to create any complications. So technically, like if you're just going a couple, maybe a mile and a half to the hospital, but we were going at least, I think our hospital was 8 miles away actually. So we live in Brooklyn, New York. Our hospital was all the way basically in Harlem, New York.
So here's the ride to the hospital, right? So before we go straight to the hospital, we have to drop our keys off to my sister's house, right?
Yeah. So it's interesting because we don't live too far away from them.
Not too far, which came in handy.
It came in handy, and what happened was that just in case we might have forgot something, somebody needed to get into our apartment, or if they wanted to drop something off at the house, like this would have been so much easier versus, whether or not they can get in the hospital or not, because it was on Martin Luther King Day. Things were kind of weird and hectic at the hospital already, so it's been difficult for them to get keys from us there. So, yeah. So we had to go and rush to get her the keys first. So
rush is not even a word. This guy right here, I don't know if he thought this was Need for Speed or Too Fast, Too Furious.
It was NASCAR.
You was just, it was crazy.
It was beautiful. That's the best.
He was riding through stop signs, red lights,
what was
everything.
a red light? What is a red light?
What is a red light, right? Exactly.
When I tell you, I felt like I was literally in a movie.
Yo, picture me in the back holding on with my stomach going through contractions, breathing mad hard, doing moves.
I wish she was lying.
And Duran is just like.
Many of you may be thinking like, yo, you got a baby, like, no way. Like, what are you doing? I'm telling you, I'm very well skilled around it.
No, he was.
I know what I'm doing. And
But I think his main
my...
focus was just like getting us to our destination like in one piece, but as fast as he could.
I ain't gonna lie to you, it was my time to shine. That's all it was I was thinking. I was thinking about us getting there in one piece, but I also wanted to drive the
That
best
was
driving
the
of my life.
craziest.
You literally can only do this probably
The
once or
craziest
twice in
driving
your life.
I've ever experienced in my life. But at the time, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just holding on for my life and just like trying to get through those contractions, trying to muscle through it because it was getting worse by the minute. Worse by the minute. And he wasn't there to give me those massages. So I'm trying to do the massages myself and oh my gosh.
To give you a perspective of how quickly we got there, it takes us about 45 minutes to an hour to get to the hospital. Usually I got there in 25 minutes.
No lie. I was shocked. But you did your thing. Like, you did your thing. You gotta stay in one piece. And that's all that matters. Alright? That's all that matters. Alright, so we got to the hospital now. I'm walking crazy, looking crazy, still breathing hard, like doing those woos and ahs and whatever. People looking at me, I'm walking through the hospital like, okay, is she okay? But it was a little empty because it was Martin Luther King Day. So that was a plus. We got to the floor, the labor and delivery floor. We got into the room. Oh my gosh.
We missed a real crucial part, the driving part. I'm gonna go back real quick. So normally, like I would think, like okay, the safe way to speed is to speed with cops, like they can.
Yes. You gotta talk about this because that part got me upset.
I was tight. Literally, I've never seen this in my life, but this is the epitome of like I know why people call cops pigs. I'm not saying that I'm calling cops pigs. I'm just saying I see why people say it. Drive up, pull up next to the cop, like yo, hysterical. My wife is in the back. She's pregnant. Can you guys like give us a ride? He's like, nah, man, go ahead, and goes and proceeds and bites a donut.
Literally, how typical.
I would have got there way faster and a safer way if he was able to, but
he just like yeah, and eating his donut.
It was crazy.
And I was looking at him like I was so pissed off.
She was
like,
vexed in the back, really vexed. We finally got there, cool. And Wusa. And so we get there and we get up to the our doula had not made it here yet. She was like probably 5 minutes away.
Yeah, so it was just us in the room with the nurse at first who was trying to get the information, and then the midwife who then came in to tell us that she would be the one who would be delivering the baby and all that good stuff.
So I want to jump in.
Yeah, please.
I had to go and park the car. The car couldn't be where I had it left at. However, there was a nurse there who was a male, and he was just like really strong on trying to get information.
Yeah, it was really annoying.
Yeah, like he was trying to get our identification. He needed her ID. He also needed our insurance stuff. He needed like our my chart or whatever.
All that information you give like to the hospital when you first like check
to get triage.
Yeah.
And like the difficult part about it all was because he just was pushy, super pushy, and he also had an accent, so it was kind of hard to understand some of the things he was saying.
And on top of that, I forgot my ID at home.
Again.
So, again, oh my gosh.
And it's okay, but all these things happen.
What's up with me if I'm forgetting my ID?
Life happens.
Okay, but...
So, what was frustrating was that it was just me and that nurse at the time inside the room. So I don't want to off the rip, like be the standoffish kind of patient. I want to kind of like gradually, if it's needed.
And I didn't want you to I didn't want you to leave me either to go to the car. So I'm there like freaking out too because I'm like, I don't want to be here alone. Like, don't leave me ever alone in this hospital for nothing.
And I wasn't going
to be there
like,
throughout everything.
The car could have got taken, whatever the case is. Like, I wasn't gonna leave her in the hospital alone unless there was somebody sick that I believe it would be there for her. So what happened was that the midwife came in and immediately, like, this is why it's so important to have like a really great hospital if you're gonna choose a hospital route. And the midwife came in and she immediately understood that she needed to advocate for us in the hospital.
She took over, basically.
Literally took over. She told the nurse, like, hey, listen, she has this information. Let me just do these steps first. And his whole demeanor and through the process is literally started to just like really calm down and simmer down.
Yeah.
So right after she came, I felt a little comfortable with leaving MJ there. I decided to to just leave and go and park the car. By that time, our doula was literally walking in.
And guys, when she came through the doors, immediately she just dropped her things, took her jacket
Straight
off,
to work.
washed her hands, because that's important. Washed her hands and she just got to work. Like she was like doing the same things that he was doing on my back, like the massages, like the breathing exercises, like for me to get through it, everything like that. And at this time, I'm already on the floor.
Yeah.
Like they put something on the floor for me to like be on the floor.
And the crazy part about it too,
Yeah.
just not to cut you off, is that like we never physically met this woman ever in our life. Like we only met her virtually
yeah.
through Zoom and through phone calls, and it was like
It was so
grew up
natural.
forever.
It's
Like,
so natural when she was there.
it was like a family reunion.
Yeah.
Like I did not feel comfortable. I didn't feel uncomfortable with her putting her hands on
Me
JC
either.
and being a part. It just felt like she was there, like as a friend of the family forever. And
Yeah.
it was just beautiful. So I felt comfortable to leave, get the car situated, and by that time I got back, you were basically 7 centimeters down.
Yeah, because they have to check. They have to check at the triage area to see how far along you are, and that's when they told me I was 7, right?
They
7
told you
centimeters
7.
dilated. So as you can see, it was like going by really quickly. Hence why the contractions were so strong. So then they moved us to our rooms, the labor room, and
huge room, by the way.
yeah, it was really calm. You even had a snippet of like the room, like you tried to do.
I tried to snip
Like when it simmered down a little, and
Yeah.
I was going through the contractions still, but
We'll
you
probably
try
get that
to,
in here so you
yeah,
can see.
probably give like a little glimpse of like how it was going. But yeah, and the room was really calm. They changed me into the robe. I was on the bed and
But
everything.
you had your own robe though.
I had my own robe, yes. But I felt like I should have used their robe and then changed it to my robe. But I had my own robe. Shout out to that Frida labor and delivery kit. You need to get that if you're pregnant, because that little kit has everything that you need. It has a robe, has the socks. It has the postpartum care kit that you need after.
You need that.
So definitely recommend that you get that Frida mom kit.
Gift that to somebody for their.
Yes, gift somebody even. Yeah.
Super. That's a great gift.
Because somebody gifted that to me, and I'm really, really grateful to them for giving that to me. So, yeah. So we want to talk about. So we spoke about everything there. Let's move on to the contraction intensity at that moment.
Yeah, like at that moment, I mean, I can't speak to the pain, but
Yeah,
I can see visually how it looked.
But at that moment, they let me be. The great thing about it is that they let me be in whatever position that I wanted. So
Which is
I
rare.
I didn't just have to be laying down in bed. Like
Yeah.
I was actually like the kneeling position, like in the back of the bed, like holding on and getting through the contractions, right?
Yeah.
So
And it was super beneficial because they don't tell you this a lot, but you ought to know this as, you know, the moms out there who are currently pregnant. Listen to your body. Your body is going to literally tell you.
also.
You have rights, but listen to your body. Your body's going to tell you what you need to be or where you need to be when delivering that child.
Quick side note. I know the doulas did tell me, like you'll know naturally, like listen to your birth, listen to your body, like you're gonna know what to do, stuff like that. And I was always like really worried about that because I'm like, what if I don't, like my instincts don't kick in, like what if I don't know like what my body is telling me to do? Like
Yeah,
I was
super
always
worried.
remember I always used to tell you that?
Yeah.
Like I didn't like what
is
if
it
I
called?
don't know?
What if I don't know what a contraction is? Or
Yeah,
what
like I didn't know what it feel like. So I was like, what if I don't know what it feel like? What if I don't know what's happening?
She found out real quick.
But honestly, like you would know.
Yeah.
You would know like how you feel, what to do in that moment. All of those things really do
It was
kick in.
super funny because like when we were at home, once the contractions started to like really boost up, she's like, babe, I'm gonna get the epidural. I was like, babe, do what you need to do. Like,
For real, because remember I was really like, well, I didn't want to epidural at all.
And like originally in our birth plan, like
Yeah.
that's something that JC just wanted for herself.
Yeah, I
she did
didn't
not want to do it. So I wanted to help her honor that, and then also, but at the moment she told me she needed that.
Yeah, when
no question.
after the contractions were hitting, like
Yeah.
I was like, babe, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be just doing it natural. I think I'm gonna get that epidural.
Yeah, it's gonna have to happen. I'm
that
just like,
pain.
yo, I'm there with you, fam. Do what you gotta do. I can't see you in this much pain anyway.
But at the hospital, you see how everything like went so quickly. Like it was even in my mind to like think about the epidural. I just wanted to get through it.
Again, I would like to even say like, I believe that like because of like the circumstances of your pregnancy, like I noticed that things were smooth all throughout. So
You see the toes?
I feel.
Hold on.
There you go, look at that.
Cute. Yeah, let her see.
We had some indications, and sometimes these won't be indications of a smooth, fast birth. But for us, we kind of had like a lot of we saw that things were kind of going to be smooth. So once we got there, she was 7 centimeters. That was about I want to say 7 or 8. It was like 7 o'clock a.m. in the morning. So by the time we got into the room, she was about 8.5, and I was like around 8-ish.
Yeah, 8 something.
She got to 10 centimeters like around.
No, it was like 9.5.
Excuse me, yes.
It was like 9.5.
She jumped straight to 9.5 like 30 minutes after that. Mm-hmm. And, you know, by then, like, we'll go into like when the birth time came, but like by then 10 centimeters came and then we just flowing and going. And the baby was showing, her head was showing, and it's just like, it ain't no real time for us to stop, do an epidural. It's like, it's go time. And by that time, the pain wasn't as intense. We was actually seeing really good progression.
And also, you remember, like, we had, going back to the plan about we wanted to, like, record and, like, have every moment, like, you know, but you're not even thinking about that, like.
Yeah, we wish we can, like, show that and share that.
You're not even thinking about that when you're going through it. Like, that's, like, the least of your concerns. Like, you're just focused on, like, getting through your contractions and, like, when it's time to push, like, you're doing it right. Listening to your doctors or midwives or whatever, so that you won't tear, you won't like have any complications, stuff like that. So yeah,
it was crazy just because, you know, I gotta say this about this woman real quick. Let's just take a pause to just put some shine on this woman right here, right? Like, I know strong women, like, but this one right here is beyond the expectations that I've ever had for like what strength looks like in a woman. And in that moment, I noticed like so much growth and just like this power in her. And the craziest thing where I say the growth part is that she was literally the kindest patient I've ever seen in my life. Like, you know, people, you going through so much pain and you're like, do what I need you to do now, and going crazy, like having these like weird, crazy, just rampant moments with like doctors and nurses. But with her, it was not like that. Like, she would be, you know, screaming because the contraction was too strong, and then moments right after that, she's just like, sorry guys, I wasn't ready that time, like, forgive me. And apologizing to the nurses for her own pain literally makes no sense to me. I did not understand why she was so kind. I'm like, why are you so kind right now? I was asking, you remember when I asked you that? I'm like, why are you so kind right now?
I'm just like, I remember squeezing the midwife's arms so hard, like so hard during one of the contractions. And after, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do that. She's like, girl, do what you need to do. Like, that's fine. Like, squeeze my arm, do whatever is gonna bring you relief. Like, do what you need to do. And I'm there like, okay, all right. Yeah. And then when the next one's coming, I'm like, guys, it's coming now. Yeah. So like, all hands on deck. So like, my midwife, my husband right here, and my doula is there like supporting and like getting through the contraction. Like, it's okay. Like one is massaging, one is holding my hand, one is like massaging my back right here and my shoulders, and like, it was something. Like,
yeah, it was super interesting just to see her go through the whole process and really power through. Because you hear like women sometimes they need to get the epidural, and you gotta respect it too as a male, like, or as the partner, and just like be able to just like respect the decision that they make, because they're the one going through it. And for her to just kind of power through it and not really have a question or thought of it was like, whoa, I did not expect that at all. Not at all. And it just speaks to the power that you got. And I gotta commend you for that.
I appreciate you.
Couldn't give a kiss or something, but not with the red stuff.
All
right. So about this time, it's about like 10 centimeters in, and
it's coming down to the good, like the good stuff.
I'm going to stop y'all right now and tell you, I'm gonna be real with you. This part gets gory.
It is.
We're gonna share some
like
things
real,
so that.
real.
So we're gonna share it just so we're not gonna post pictures or any of that. So don't
Yeah.
expect to see anything visually. But
Although we do have pictures, we're not gonna ever share that with people. But
yeah.
we took our doula came in clutch and she took those pictures for us because I wanted to see, and because we weren't able to film the actual birth.
It's a hospital
Policy.
policy.
The hospital policy. But my doula, she kind of slipped in something for us. And
Advocate
we
for it.
appreciate her because we got to see, what was happening. So, I just wanted to say that real quick.
Facts.
But this is like the real, raw, like honest part right here, like what happened.
Yeah.
Right?
So it gets serious. For me, I'm a person that I love stuff like this. That's just me. I know that sounds weird and crazy, but I don't mind seeing the birth of my child. Like some guys pass out.
He was literally in there, like the whole to see everything.
I saw it all.
He was right there next to my midwife, like
I
while
probably
she
could
was
birth a
doing her
kid
thing. He was literally in there, like watching, wanting to see. And I appreciate you for being there, looking and just making sure everything was going as it needs
To make sure she was safe and my child was safe. So I was all eyes open to making sure that everything was safe. So to my knowledge, obviously. So while watching and looking, around 10 centimeters, the baby is around the pelvis area, not showing their head specifically, but it's able to go through so they can start showing.
So this is the part where you need to start pushing. Or come in there. No, that's it. And we are praying already. Here. Breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out. Listen to your body if you feel like the urge to push. So the first time I felt like the urge, like I needed to push. It was such a weird feeling because remember I told you guys like I'm on my knees on the bed and I'm like holding onto the back through the contractions, right? And I'm holding onto the bed and I'm like, oh my gosh, like a contraction came.
She feels
and
pressure.
I felt some type of pressure. Like I just stood up. I don't know. Like this is what I felt like I needed to do. I stood up and I'm like, oh my god.
She's on the bed. She's on the bed. She's like, oh my gosh, what's that? Oh my god. I feel like, mind you, when you're on the chair, she's going up and higher and higher. Like she's trying to go through the ceiling. And I'm like, where are you going?
That's literally how I felt. Like I felt like something was coming down, like I needed to take a dump type of feel. And it was coming down and I just felt like I needed to go up. I don't know why. Like I just felt like I need to get off my knees and stand up.
I'm there like,
I felt
chill,
like
relax,
something
like, this
was
is not
coming
safe.
down. It was so crazy. I didn't know what to do.
Wow.
And they're all like, what are you doing? Like trying to bring me down. And I'm like, I felt like I need to take a dump. Like I felt like I needed to like do something. And they were like, okay, maybe it's the urge that you need to push. Like, so maybe you should start pushing now. So at that point, when I came down, they were like, on the next contraction, while you're having it, that's when you like push. So I'm like, okay, cool. So the next contraction came and I'm like, I'm pushing. So what were you seeing? Tell them what you were seeing.
So at that
while I was pushing.
time, the baby was almost close to showing. So you see a peak of the baby's head and then it will go back in. So
it's like every time I pushed, you saw,
push,
right?
There was progression and then there's a little
when
bit
I
of
stopped
regression.
pushing, like it went back, right?
Yeah,
Because
which
I think
is
that's
normal,
what the midwife was
but
saying.
it goes up a little bit, comes down. It goes up a little bit and then it comes down just a little bit. But there is a progress that happens. So that was going on for, I probably would say.
That was going on for a little bit, right?
I'd probably say 15 minutes, but it does not feel like that. It feels like this is going in seconds.
And honestly, the contraction pain was worse than that actual pushing pain for me. Because the pushing pain, that wasn't really painful for me. It just felt like I needed to take a dump, like I told y'all. But the contraction pain is like the realest pain for me. Like that was crazy. Yeah. Like and really painful.
I could say that that's probably a test to probably some of the pre-work that we did. So, you know, there's exercises you can do that can help with that process so that things kind of move a little bit
and
smoothly.
Being sexually active. It's a little TMI, but it works.
Yeah, the boy was there. It was great. Man,
it worked.
I leave it like that.
Exercising, all those other things. The what's that? The yoga ball?
Oh yeah, the yoga ball.
The yoga ball. I was doing that every day as well.
Definitely stretching and what have you.
Yeah.
So, sure. And then I would even say after that, what took place was we just had information from our doulas. Like, we wouldn't know to do any of these things if we didn't have a doula in place. And
you gotta have that education in.
Yeah,
in
for sure.
real.
So we knew what to expect. Like, you know, we would have these classes and then we would see it in real life. Like, well, I would see it, and she would just be going through it physically. And I'm like, wow, that's really what you guys told us that was happening. And I knew what to expect. I was like, if I didn't know any info, I was like, why is she going back in? Like, does she have to push extra hard? But it all made sense. Like, with the contraction, you go ahead and do your pushes. And everybody's different, but that's what worked best for her. And we were able, thankfully, because of the hospital we went to, so we had a little bit of wiggle room on positioning.
Oh yes, because after I was pushing for a little bit at that point, they told me that
the progression just
it wasn't
ceased.
That so they told me to like turn around and do the sitting position. So I was sitting with my legs up and I was like kind of pushed forward like this, right? And that's when they told me to try pushing again when I had the contraction. So the contraction came and I'm pushing and I'm holding on to somebody's hand, pushing.
Crazy.
How much pushes did I do? I don't think I did a lot either.
I can't remember, but I can tell you that it was so fast.
Yeah, it was like this. Cause like as soon as I changed that position.
Yeah, cause we were in the delivery room like around 8:50ish. Like it was literally our child was delivered like at 9:58. So this was within an hour span. Things she was here with us. So when I tell you like the steps, like from the 10 centimeters to okay, now her head is showing after those pushes. Then
yes, we can't miss that part. So while I was pushing, it came to a point when the head was like right there, right? And they were like, "Oh my goodness, do you want to feel the head?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, yeah." So I felt it. It didn't even feel like a head, honestly. It just felt like really gooey. Soft and gooey. Yeah. And I'm like, once I felt the head, like that gave me the like motivation to like, okay, I'm almost there. Like I could do this.
It was literally
that really just gave me the motivation. And then I think they told me when I pushed the baby out, it would just feel like a burning sensation. So I knew what to expect. So I pushed, and I really did feel like a little burn, but it wasn't nothing crazy. But on that final push, like it just felt like a relief. Honestly, it just felt like a relief. Like picture you taking a dump and you felt that relief.
Load is gone.
Yeah, that load come out. Like that's what it felt like. And as soon as they took the baby out, they put the baby on my chest. So
it was so cute because at that moment, like she wouldn't have known, but I had a mask on and my glasses on, but I was in tears. Like if you saw under my mask, it was literally the nastiest thing ever, just because of the tears and sliding. I was like, oh,
that mask really covered it for you because I didn't know.
Bad. It was really bad. I'm there crying my eyes out, and it was just crazy because I'm seeing her just go through all this. You think you know women until you actually seen a woman go through birth. Like it's completely a whole different situation.
And my doula, she captured that moment, like when I pushed and the baby slipped right out. And what's crazy is because I've been telling my family, my sisters and everybody, I was like, yo, when I have my baby, it's just gonna slip right out. I'm telling y'all right now, slip right out. And she really just slipped right out. Like it's crazy. It really happened, like how I expected it to happen.
Once the head came out, it was just.
And when I saw the footage that our doula got, like how the baby just slipped right out, it's such an amazing video. Like
I watched it 50 times, so you would think something.
That's my favorite video.
You know, it has so much blood and has like all this like just weird stuff going on. Like you would think that it'd be something that's like, oh, I can't watch that, but I watch it every time, and it just shows like how magnificent God is, and when you just think about
amazing.
And, like, it's crazy.
To think that I carried a baby in my stomach and it just slipped right out, and it was just right there on me at that moment. It was just so shocking, like so amazing at the same time, like amazing feeling. So
I gotta agree, and you know when I saw her for the first time, I was just like, it was surreal. It's like, yo, that's really like my kid, like that's my seed, and I'm like, yo, that's my wife too. And I'm like, oh dang, like this is my family, and I'm like, oh damn, like this is my legacy, and I'm like, yo, this is just so beautiful that it all came together, and God is so good. So the whole moment in itself was just, it was surreal.
It was like, the whole experience for me was really just like smooth. It was an amazing experience. Like I don't have any bad thoughts when I think about my labor and delivery. story, but yeah.
Yeah. So just some other things that you guys want to keep in mind when going to the hospital. There's some other things that we don't really talk about, but your birth plan is super important.
Super important.
What happens directly after the birth happens so fast, and it may be things that you may not be okay with, and you ought to know about it before going to the hospital.
The placenta.
The placenta.
That's something that is not spoken about.
Yeah.
Like you have to push that out afterwards, after you push the baby out.
Yeah.
That has to come out right after.
And also just keeping it too. So like, if you decide that you want to keep the placenta,
you gotta make sure you sign the release form for that beforehand.
And some hospitals give you a really hard time with that.
Yeah, but it's yours. It's yours. You have all rights to it. And
if you decide that you don't even want to do anything with it, like you don't want to turn it into pills, or go ahead and take it with you.
We should have still kept it.
It's an organ that possibly might be used in other medicines or whatever, but take that because it's yours.
Yeah.
We didn't take ours.
We regret that, but
we regret it, but that was just our decision.
Yeah.
But we had made some other decisions that was really cool, and I think we should talk about it. Which was, we opted out of doing the ointment for her eyes.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't necessary because the purpose of the ointment, and it wasn't something that really fell within the parameters of us. You can do more research on what that ointment is, or just contact us so that we can tell you
we
more
might
about
put
that.
down what is actually called the actual name, because I forgot the actual name of it.
Yeah, we'll put the name down.
But is that gel they put on the baby's eyes?
It's like, why
right
you putting that on my kids' eyes? Like, let them just see for themselves. And we did the vitamin K because it's super important. And there was something else that we decided not to do. Like
I think it's the hepatitis.
The hepatitis B shot. We decided to opt out of that so we can inform ourselves about these different vaccines and make sure that we make the right decisions for our kid.
Yeah, so it's a lot that goes into it. Like, it's just not pushing the baby out and that's it. Like, there's a lot of other decisions that you have to make right after.
Right, like literally
right after birth. Like, they just come at you with it. And it's like so annoying because like, can you give me a minute? I just had, like, I just
and
pushed
you have the right to ask for a minute, and that's something that's also not talked about. And you should probably have more forums to talk about these things. But in light of all of that too, just like what they do is they quickly take your child, they weigh the child, and you're like, yo, I didn't even get to touch my kid yet, and you already wiping them off.
But for us, that's why we had the skin to skin first, so they didn't just take her right after.
And we saw the benefits of it. When a baby comes out of the womb, they have this layer of like
vernix.
It's called the vernix, and
we left that on. We decided to keep that on her because usually they wipe all that stuff off. Yeah, but we kept that on her for the first day. And it's really, actually till we came home.
We had it on her since we came home.
Till we came home. We brought her home. We left that on her because there's a lot of benefits to it. So if you guys have questions regarding the birth and everything, like any other burning questions that you may have, like you can just leave it in the comments and we would also like answer that for you guys.
Yep. Well, I'll be okay with coming into another video. I really don't like being in these.
I mean, this is your second video. I mean, this is your third video in. So I mean, you already have no choice by now. You just in.
I guess I'm locked down.
That sounds so excited.
Nah, I'm super excited. But yeah, we're open to talk about whatever that you guys want to know about. Yeah. It's super important.
But this is something that is not spoken about. Like birth and like for black people is not really spoken about. Like the important parts of it, stuff that you need to know, stuff that you need to educate yourself on for your child, stuff like that. So let us know what you want to find out and we'll get that to you.
Yeah, and the good thing too is that there's tons of resources out there for people who are not as well off. And if you don't have all the financial resources, there are multiple doulas out there that can work with you in those moments.
Thankfully, for free, yeah.
For free. For free, but you want to be able to support people who support you. Yeah. So make sure that if a person has a service, that you definitely look into compensating them for that. What I would say is that in those moments, all the information that you can get it from them. Is super helpful for us because we kind of knew everything what was going to happen, and it kind of went the way that we kind of studied it with our doula. So with that being said, we'll even talk about we'll even probably show up the name of the doulas that we have, and we also have other resources for other doulas as well. that could help you in these processes. And so many people that who are doulas out there want to be able to help people that look like you and I. So feel free to ask us any questions in the comments below, and we'll go from there.
I see that. Holy shit, that's crazy.
Is that it?
Yeah, it's definitely moving. Something in there moving.
The joy of the moment, the joy of that day, and she's finally here.
My beautiful baby girl.
We won't.
Are we gonna tell them her name?
Yeah, why not?
Her name is Mayori. You wanna tell them the meaning of her name?
So Mayori means the light that exudes genuine love and affection.
All right, thank you for watching. Until next time, bye.
I love you, Poppy.